Another beautiful day. I'm in a spot now that I used to do a lot of hunting in. Used to do a lot of hunting in here a few years back, up until 2 years ago was the last time I hunted here. I used to always be able to take a nice big blacktail out of here during the rut. And I never even came in here last year because I wanted to give the area a bit of a break. And wanted to give it a bit of a break because I hit it pretty hard for about 2 or 3 years hard. Every second or third day I'd come in here. Sorry for the huffing and puffing. That's what happens when you're out of shape. Anyways, I wanted to get back in here and just scope it out for next year's hunt and see how the deer population's looking. As you can see, there's some pretty good deer trails in here. I saw 2 does probably an hour ago when I first got off the main trail and started hiking up the mountain. I saw 2 does pretty much right away, and I haven't seen anything since. But there is a bit of sign around, so. Thought I just heard something. So a couple years ago, when I was in here deer hunting, it was late November. I was hunting the rut, and I was sitting on a pretty good game trail, and it was just about dark. It was just about dark, and I heard like 6 or 8 real distinct tree knocks, like loud buggers. There's some deer sign. That's fairly fresh. Anyways, yeah, I heard these tree knocks, and at first I thought maybe it was a couple of bucks fighting, but there's no damn way that's what it was, because it got really loud. And it was that typical sound. Anybody that's moose hunted, when a bull moose smacks its horns on a big tree, it's a real heavy thud. And that's what it was. And then there was a couple of huffing sounds, like whoo, 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 whoo. That type of a sound. And I was like, okay, that's enough of this shit, I'm out of here. And I hightailed it out of there. So I know that these buggers are in this area as well. I'm only 5 miles or so from Speak of the Devil. There's another tree. I was just about to say I'm only 5 miles from where that shit show was there a couple weeks ago. That tangle of trees. And there's another one. No, whatever. I mean, there's a few. Here's another one over here. You can see there's some old ones broken there. Okay. And here's two more. That's a big bugger. Like, that's a really big tree. You can see the size of that tree. I know that one could be just rotten. So could that one. You know, it's possible. I'm not, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every damn tree that's broken in the forest is broken by Bigfoot. Not a chance. But what I am saying is that is a very common theme with these people, is breaking trees. Why they break them, I don't know. Is it to mark territory, to mark trails? Not sure. I don't know which way to go here. I don't know if I have enough time to go up and over, or if I should just cut down through this draw. It's just this draw could be tough going. What way did you go, Outlaw? What way did you go? Did you take the shortcut down through the canyon, or did you go the long way over the top? Come on, guys, what do you think? Yeah, I went the long way over the top. That's right. I got a bit of daylight left, and it's gonna be dark by the time I hit the main trail. But once I'm on the main trail, I'm fine back out here in the dark, actually. But you got to be careful, because I'm going to show you something. This is kick-ass steep. Look at that. Like, this is a cliff. That's a long ways down. That's a long ways down. You're going to starve to death before you hit the bottom of this one. You're going to die of starvation before you bounce off the cliff at the bottom. Finally starting to make my way back out to the main trail, but I got a ways to go yet. That's going to be plenty dark by the time I get back, but I don't give a shit. This is a beautiful hike. Do I read an email for you? Or do I try my other method of reading over top of this when I'm editing? What do you guys think? What do we do? Do you just want to watch the scenery as I go and hear the email over top of me, or do you want to see my ugly mug and have me sit down and read it for you? Well, I've asked for your feedback on that topic, and I'm in dire need of a rest, because I've been giving her. I'm in dire need of a rest, so I think maybe I'll take a break. Running out of daylight fast. Really fast. We're running out of daylight, but I'm still gonna bust off an email for you guys here. I can't come out here and not read for you, because they keep coming. every time I think I'm getting near the end of the email chains, more and more come in, which is fine. It is what it is, you guys. I told people to share and people are sharing, so all I'm doing is I'm just sharing it here. I'm an outlet, so I'm just sharing it here for you guys to see and or listen to or whatever, and that's all I'm doing. And you know what? I've had some of these people that have shared that have told me it's helping them and it's helped to them to get it off their chest. So it is what it is. I'm gonna get busy. I'm not gonna waste any time here because I'm gonna be hiking in the dark. I just know it. Okay. Oh. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Hey Darren, I'm reaching out to you to finally share my story about my experience with Bigfoot. I've never given the topic of Bigfoot any real consideration, even though I live in an area that has had a ton of sightings over the years. My home is northwest of Lake Shasta, and I've worked my entire life around these parts, mostly in the Trinity area. I build and maintain logging road and also do mechanical work on logging equipment. Stories of Bigfoot have been around the logging industry since long before I started in the mid-'80s, and I've heard some real doozies over the years. It's not that I don't believe in these people or any of the stories I'd heard. I believed it to be completely possible for a wild man to live undetected in this vast remote wilderness. It just didn't really draw my attention. In all my years in the bush working and for fun, I hadn't seen a track or anything that made me think, oh, that's a Bigfoot. That was until 1994, when I was heading to work one morning in early October. It was about 5 a.m., and I was heading to a new road build where we had a cat and a couple excavators building road, and me and two other guys working the site. I was maybe 10 minutes from where the equipment was, and I came around a corner in the road, and right there, in the middle of the road, walking away from me, was this creature that stood probably 8 to 9 feet tall and was all of 4 feet across its shoulders. It had long, dark black hair with a bit of gray in it, and it looked all matted like an old dog. It had no neck, just shoulders and head. As I rounded the corner and the lights hit this thing, it turned its head and stopped. I hit the brakes and came to a stop myself. This thing turned towards the truck, and right in front of it was a second creature. It must have been walking in front of the first one. It was a lot smaller than the big one was, maybe 6 feet tall, kind of skinny, but very muscular. This one was jet black, shiny looking, and its hair wasn't matted at all. I put the truck into reverse and started slowly backing up, but it was hard because I didn't want to look over my shoulder or take my eyes off of this thing. All of a sudden, the smaller one took off running away from me on an angle towards the trees. The bank on that side of the road was probably 16 feet up to the tree line and at a 50 or 60% grade. We had just built this a few months prior. And this bloody thing hit the trees in 2 strides up the bank. The big one was now facing me and took a couple steps towards me, so I sped up a bit and looked in the mirror to see where I was going, so I didn't back off the road and go over the bank. When I looked ahead again, this thing was on the side of the road and had a boulder in its hands that was probably 2 to 2.5 feet around. It was massive. No human being could ever lift something this size. It threw this damn boulder towards my truck. It chucked it 40 feet out onto the road. I hit the brakes and stared at this thing as this thing slowly walked away
up the road and went up the bank where the other one had gone. It only took a few long strides up the steep bank and stopped at the top and turned and looked at me again. At the top of the bank, there was some small trees, maybe 12 to 14 footers. Well, this thing grabbed a tree in each hand, ripped them out of the ground, and threw them towards me as well. It threw those trees probably 20 to 30 feet out onto the road. It was absolutely mind-blowing, the power this damn creature had. It took one step and was gone. I sat there for a minute and decided to get turned around and go back to the last landing at least and wait there for my two partners to arrive. I waited at the landing in the darkness with the truck running and the headlights on for about 20 minutes until Bob and Alvin showed up, and I was nervous as all hell the entire time. When they showed up, they said, "What are you doing here?" So I got out of my truck and jumped into the back of theirs and said, "You're not gonna fucking believe what I just saw." Alvin was an old-time cat skinner and had spent 40 plus years working the bush. And he looked right at me and said, "Oh yeah, you seen a Sasquatch, did you?" I said, "How the hell did you know that?" He laughed and said, "I could smell the shit in your pants as soon as you got in the truck." I said, "It's no effing joke, you guys," and I told them what I had seen. They both listened to me, and then Alvin said, "I could see the damn fear in your eyes the minute we pulled up beside you, Trav. That's how I knew what you'd seen." We sat there at the landing for a bit and talked. And Bob said he'd heard stories, but never seen or heard one himself. But old Alvin said he'd had some run-ins with him a couple times over the years. Alvin told us his stories, which only drove more fear into me. But you could tell he wasn't bullshitting us. It was intense. He finally said, "Well, they've been in these forests since before we got here, and they'll be here long after we're gone. So let's get our asses to work." I was like, "Are we seriously going to go back there and go to work?" Alvin said, "If we don't get paid. The road ain't going to build itself." He said, "Boys, we've been here working for 2 months now, and the damn things haven't bothered us at all until now. You just startled them on the road, and they wanted to scare the shit out of you." I was hesitant, but decided to follow them up to the end of the road and get to work. As we got to the spot where I saw them, sure enough, there's the 2 trees and the big-ass boulder right in the middle of the road. We barely got our trucks around it. I went down later on with the excavator and moved it off the road. We worked that road for another 3 months to finish it off and never had another incident. I used to always be the first guy to site in the mornings because I like to sit in my truck, have my coffee and a smoke, and listen to some music before work. That day was the last time I was the first man on site for probably a couple of years. I've never forgotten the sight of that creature when it turned and faced my truck as if to say, "Come on, I dare you to come closer." I hunt deer all the time, and I'm still always looking when I'm out there, just thinking one's going to be there staring at me in the trees. I used to never give these things much a thought at all, and ever since that day, anytime I'm in the bush for work or for fun, they're front and center in my mind. Bob and I talked quite a bit to Alvin after that incident, and man, did he have some stories about these creatures. Alvin's not with us any longer, but I know he wouldn't mind me sharing his stories with you one day, if that interests you. Let me know if you want me to email you again, or you can reach out to me anytime you like. Take it easy, Darren, and always keep your eyes open on your travels. Travis Henderson. Holy shit, again, Travis. Wow, again, blows my mind as I'm out in the friggin' forest at dark. Thanks, Travis. I appreciate it, man. That has to be terrifying. I know I'm in construction. I know what a rock that size would weigh, and to rip trees out of the ground like that, you know, I just was showing everybody trees that were broken and a couple that were uprooted in that spot I was in a few weeks ago where there was a bunch ripped right out by the base. Yeah, it's unreal. It obviously goes to show the incredible power, that these things have. Travis, if you're watching this, I will definitely get in contact with you. But if you are watching, 100% email in, share Alvin's stories are with us. Those old timers worked their whole lives in the bush. Man, I'm sure they got some stories to share. So do so. I don't want to cut anything short here, but I'm going to get my ass in gear here because it's dark and I got a long ways to go yet. So, okay, people. I hope everybody's safe. Take care. Be a good person. Don't be a douchebag, right? Okay, I'm gonna rock and roll because it's getting late and I gotta go. My wife is gonna kill me. Mrs. Outlaw is gonna kill me. She's not gonna be happy with me. I told her I'd be back at home by dark, and I'm not gonna be. Sorry, honey. All right, let's roll, people. Later. Well, I got back onto the main trail, and it's dark. That's okay. Made her out safe and sound. I texted my lovely wife, and I said, I'm okay, honey. I'm just running a little bit late. And she said, typical. She's like, you always run late. Anyways, it's all good. It's all good. Man, is it cooling off? Is it ever cooling off? Yeah, is it ever cooling off now? I got my good cooey down jacket on. This jacket is it's a hybrid jacket. It's got down in it, and it's also got a waterproof layer on it. So it's not super warm, but it's perfect when you're hiking because it keeps you warm. And if it happens to rain, you're dry. It's not quite as warm as my solid green down one, but it's pretty good. All cooey stuff is good, man, let me tell you. You want good gear? Buy cooey. You know what? You got to put a little more out up front. It's not cheap, but lifetime warranty. It's warranted for life. And no, I'm not sponsored by Cooey. I just have decided finally, in my older age, I finally decided to spend the money and get good gear as opposed to buying mediocre gear every 2 or 3 years. This stuff, you buy it once and it's lasts for the rest of your life. So, anyways, definitely cooling off. I gotta tell you, gotta be honest with you, because I'm always honest with you guys. I was a little on edge again, hiking out of there in the dark, and hiking out of there in the dark after reading Travis's story. Holy shit! Like, just picture that, you guys. Like me right now, I'm walking out of here, right? I'm walking down this road. Just imagine, put yourself there. Imagine driving or walking or whatever, and this 8 or 9 foot, 800 or 1,000 pound being that looks kind of like a caveman steps out, picks up a 2.5 foot, I don't know, 500 pound boulder and hucks it 30 feet at you. And then, to top it off, just to scare you a little bit more, the friggin' thing walks over to the edge of the trees and rips 12 or 14 foot trees out of the ground, one in each hand, pulls them out of the ground by the roots, and throws those at you like they're a ski pole or a walking pole. Imagine that. You know, people go, you're nuts, you're out of your mind to be out there walking around where these things are. And I don't look at it that way. If a Bigfoot wants to kill me, well, then kill me. If a grizzly's gonna kill me, then kill me. Right? Because I love it out here. I feel safer here than I feel downtown in my little town I live in. Because there's friggin' drug addicts, crazy shit going on down there. Catch this. A fellow that I know quite well works for the town, city, very close to where I live. I've known this guy for a long time. He got attacked yesterday while at work. He got attacked by 2 drug addicts, and he got stabbed with a needle, a used needle, by these drug addicts multiple times. Yeah, imagine that. Sorry, I'd sooner get killed by Bigfoot. Anyhow, it is what it is. I'm not worried about it out here in the woods. I got my bear spray for bears, and I'm not gonna bear spray a Sasquatch if I see one. That'd be stupid. But I just don't worry about it, you guys. I don't live my life that way. I love the wilderness more than anything. More than anything. Not more than my wife and kids, but you know what I mean. I love the woods. I love the wilderness, and nothing will ever stop me from going out here, except death. And I hope heaven has a forest. I hope there's a forest in heaven, because that's where I'll go. That's where you'll find me. Alright, I'm just yakking just to keep my mind off of shit out here, so I hope you're not bored. But I'll be at the truck soon. And then I'm going to go home, and I'm going to have a cold beer. Yeah, I'm going to have a cold beer. Feels good. My legs feel good. My back's feeling pretty darn good. My cardio's getting better. I'm getting back into outlaw shape. Alright guys, you've heard me ramble enough about nothings. I'm going to let you go, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.